Neil, are you ready?
Hey Helen, yep, I'm good to go.
Good. Hello everyone, welcome to today's webinar on Opsview's Opspacks and Integrations. I'm Helen Carroll, VP of Marketing, and joining me today is one of our Opsview experts, Neill Collie. So Neil's going to spend about 20-25 minutes going through the Opspacks and Integrations, and then we'll leave some time at the end, about 5-10 minutes for questions. If you can raise those questions in the chat facility and keep your lines on mute, we've got quite a few people on the line, so we don't want to ruin the audio quality for everybody else. So questions via the chat facility. We are recording today's session. We will share that with all of you that have valid business email addresses under your Opsview subscription. So thank you, and over to you, Neil.
Hey guys, thank you very much. Sorry, my screen's just gone a bit strange there. Everybody still see that okay? Helen, you can see that
yes.
Okay, right? Yeah, good. All right. So we're just going to do 30 minutes or so, 20 minutes or so about Opspacks and integrations. So I'll cover what they are and how we might import and export some, and then we'll go through some examples and hopefully we'll get some time for some questions. As of Opsview 6.3, every Opspack that you see on our integrations page is bundled with Opsview and is installed automatically. So if you see something that you like the look of, the best thing to do is get upgraded to Opsview 6.3. As they're all included and they're all installed by default. We don't make you go and grab them from the website individually. What an Opspack lets you do is just quickly monitor your infrastructure, your public and private clouds, VMs, containers, databases, everything and anything that you can think of, we've probably got an Opspack for. And it's really just a way of bundling up things that you may already be familiar with within Opsview. So we're talking host templates, all of the associated service checks, the plugins required to run that, and then the host attributes to go with your host. So everything you need as part of a host template, as part of a monitoring solution, comes as part of an Opspack. So that you shouldn't need much more extra configuration apart from plumbing in certain things like your host name, of course, and say some connection variables or credentials, things like that. Most are built right into the most recent versions of the product, and that means you get support with these Opspacks from Opsview. If you go and import your own or create your own, which we'll cover in a little bit of detail, but if you go and create your own, then there is a community Slack channel that's still there, so you can go and discuss that with other members of the Opsview community just to get usage instructions and tips and tricks and things like that. But the big thing here is that an Opspack is just the combination of the host template, all of the service checks, plugins, and the host attributes. And when we go and import an Opspack, what that does is recreate everything that was part of that host template, that service check, and it includes the binary plugin and any host attributes. And we grab all of our Opspacks from opsview.com. Opspacks, so I go to product here and we just click Opspacks, and this is an overview, a list of all of the things that Opsview now out of the box on the most recent version will monitor. So if there's something you're looking to keep an eye on, looking to monitor, come to this page and see if we've got an existing Opspack for it. The easiest way to get these now is to just upgrade to 6.3 or to go for Opsview Cloud. For example, if I sort by availability, so I'd like to monitor, say, some containers of virtualization, and I pick my version as the most recent, so let's do 6.3, and I can see that these 4 Opspacks are happily available. If I go back to a slightly older version, just 6, then I've got slightly less options. 6.1 still, 6.2, the VMware one should appear. 6.3, we've got the most recent Kubernetes monitoring. So for each version of Opsview that we release, we are including these new Opspacks and new capability. So if you aren't already, you should consider getting up to Opsview 6.3 because this lets you take advantage of the most recent monitoring packs. And as an an example, we'll just cover some of the cloud ops packs, which you may or may not be aware of. So you may think of Opsview as something on-premise that monitors your own traditional infrastructure, but Opsview, like this page shows, is also really, really adept at monitoring cloud. So we've got all of the big public cloud providers, your networking kit, your Kubernetes environment, your containers. Opsview is great at monitoring this as well. So if you were previously unaware that we do all of this AWS monitoring, all of this Azure monitoring, this is all available as an ops pack that you can download and configure and get into your own Opsview systems. So we'll do cloud, Azure, Google and AWS, as well as GCP, and we've also got OpenStack monitoring as well. So if I was to just flick to cloud here, we've got yet another one that appears, OpenStack monitoring, which is currently only available for Opsview Cloud. And depending on demand, we'll probably end up making that available for the most recent Opsview on-premise version as well. So we are putting a lot of time and effort into all these ops packs. And if we just dig into one in slightly more detail, we can see that we've got an overview of what the actual ops pack does, and then some install notes, which are going to be different for each ops pack. So it gives you a little bit of prerequisites that you might need to install, and then tells you some of the settings you need to apply, some of the settings you need to actually change on your own infrastructure, and then things that will be populated into Opsview. So these variables will have appeared within Opsview as soon as we install this OpenStack ops pack, and then we can just populate them with the required details. So it takes a huge amount of the config out because all of this is added, the host template's added. All you need to do is add those variables, and this is the same for something like, say, if I go to EC2 monitoring. This is an overview of all the things we can monitor, and our install notes. You'll notice that they all just say to configure and utilize this ops pack, all we need to do is go to Cloud, AWS, EC2, and add that template. So if I go to my training environment and search for cloud, what I'll see eventually is that to make use of that ops pack, because I'm on the most recent version, all I need to do is scroll down to Cloud, AWS, EC2, and add this host template to my host. So if I had some cloud hosts in here, I would add it to that. And because I'm on the most recent version, all the prerequisites have been taken care of, and I can make use of this ops pack. So I've got the service check, the plugin, the variables, and the host template all installed and ready to use in Opsview. So the ops pack just takes the work out of getting this new functionality into Opsview. Similarly, if you had a Kubernetes environment, we could use the Kubernetes ops pack that would either monitor something on premise or in the cloud, and we could use this ops pack to take advantage of monitoring things like CPU disk from within inside individual pods. And then we've got HTTP statics and stuff, HTTP statistics and file descriptors and things from your actual K8 server. So there's a lot of functionality in these new ops packs that you might well be missing, especially if you're using some of this new technology. You'll notice that this one here required Opsview 6.3. My AWS one probably just required, I believe, 6. That's because with each iteration of the product, we're improving things like results processing and our infrastructure and our capabilities, so we can monitor more complex things like Kubernetes clusters and nodes, and right the way down to individual pods. So to take advantage of all of these new technologies, and you want to keep an eye on them in your environment, version up to date as possible. I would love to go into every single Opspack that we've got because we do have a huge number. I want to concentrate on one of I want to focus a little bit on one of the integrations. So as well as our Opspacks, I'll go back to this page just quickly. We'll scroll down one last time so we can see just how many Opspacks we've got. And you guys too can just go to Product and then Opspacks to see. We've also got our integrations page. And this is a very similar concept to Opspacks, where we bundle extra functionality and extra integrations so we can link with third-party tools. So for things like notification methods, we'll interact with we'll interact with Twilio and VictorOps, and got Opsgenie as well. That's not on this page. We've got Slack, and then we've got Android push and iOS notifications. A big one for many organizations is the service desk connectors. So ServiceNow, Jira, Salesforce, we can bundle those and bundle and integrate those with Opsview. So for example, this is now two-way, and this again is something that's going to require a recent version of Opsview, but ServiceNow integration, bi-directional and hugely improved if you've ever used the previous version. No longer requires our service desk connector module, so it's native, it's part of the Opsview product. But this ServiceNow integration allows us to create tickets in ServiceNow straight from Opsview. If the status changes in ServiceNow, it can get, that will be reflected on Opsview, so it will be acknowledged. If the issue resolves itself, if Opsview detects that a CPU usage problem has gone back down, then it will automatically be closed in ServiceNow. Lots and lots of extra functionality like that are now part of these integrations that weren't before. I want to talk a little bit about this analytics module. We call it the Splunk integration module, but it'll work with more than one. It actually works with more than one tool. It was introduced in Opsview 6.1, and this does require a little bit of manual work to install. But what this powerful little tool does is allow us to send all of our service check results. So everything that I see on this page here, send all of this to either a log file or a SIEM tool or anything like that, to an HTTP endpoint or syslog, and this allows all of that useful information that you build up through Opsview to be easily shared to one of your other tools, and that comes as part of. Let's see if I can show you. That comes as part of. Hopefully, this is going to be visible for everybody. I'm just going to zoom in a touch. So for our results exporter config, we can send it to a specific log file. We've also got a few other options, like I say, so an HTTP endpoint or Splunk endpoint and syslog. So we can send this data, all of our normal Opsview data, to one of our third-party tools, which can go and analyze at a later date. And this makes integration with the rest of your environment really, really simple, really straightforward, just by installing this results exporter module. And this is what we call the Splunk results exporter. There's installation instructions and config instructions right on the right from this page. And installing it is just a case of using your package manager and a little apt install or yum install Opsview result exporter. And then we've got some options with which we can configure where we send our results. There's a lot of flexibility here, so we can send it anywhere we want, and we can also filter it as we go. So I can decide where it goes. I can also decide what I send, so I can pick my fields. And this is one of our more popular integrations, one of our most used extra features within Opsview. Doesn't require any extra licensing or anything like that. It's all part of the base product, but certainly worth investigating if you need to send your results to a third-party tool like Splunk. So we call it the Splunk results exporter. And another integration, the final one I'm going to go into in huge detail, is our Ansible module, which hugely simplifies the automated management of Opsview by using Ansible. And the way it does that is through the use of our API. So our REST API is what powers our web interface. So everything you see on this web interface here is powered by the API. So every change I'll make to any setting or anything I view within Opsview, so if I go to any of my hosts and view anything, what you would see in the background is lots and lots of little web-based API calls. So the same API we can use to integrate with many third-party tools. We've got Chef and Puppet integrations too, but I'm going to focus on Ansible just so we get an idea. We've got an Ansible module on this. Would allow us to synchronize whatever you deploy, whatever you bring up using your Ansible scripts. That means that you get that straight into Opsview, monitored exactly how you need it, so you can decide which host templates, which host attributes, which service checks you want to run against that host, and have that automatically plumbed into Opsview as soon as you bring up that infrastructure. Anything that's not already in will be created. Anything else that matches will be updated. So there's no danger of overwriting stuff. You'll just update it. This Ansible module is really, really useful if you're an Ansible type organization who use that to bring up systems and deploy your infrastructure. You can make sure you get everything straight into Opsview at the same time as it's deployed, and then you never have to worry about it. You never have to worry about systems not being monitored or systems monitored slightly differently each time. It's all taken care of using this Ansible module. So I would certainly recommend, if you get a chance, go and take a look at the Ansible integration module as well. This is actually something that we host up on GitHub, so this is something we contribute to as well. And all of the documentation is there. Certainly worth configuring if you do use Ansible a lot, because it will save you huge amounts of effort in the long run. So just to recap there, integrations are things like our notifications, so our Android and iOS push applications. We've got an integration with Slack, VictorOps and Twilio, like I say. We've also got ConnectWise. So it's a ConnectWise integration if you use that as your service desk tool. And then we covered the big ones: ServiceNow, Salesforce, Jira. Really strong integrations there, and that Splunk results exporter module I was showing off a moment ago, that'll send to things like MoogSoft, any other API you can think of, log files, syslog, and your scene tools if you need to. There's one thing that I didn't create a slide for and I want to show us. Perhaps not immediately obvious with Opspacks is that we can export them and then import them. So on our host templates page, I've got import Opspack here. So if I've gone ahead and made a host template, I'm just going to wait for this page to load. What I can do is export it, and then if I've got more than one Opsview system, so maybe I've got a dev system or a sandbox or something like that, and I need to take a lovingly crafted host template and send it to another system, what I can do is export it. So this is a host template I made last week. I'll go and export it. So when I export this Opspack, this includes the plugins, service checks, everything, and it just comes down as basically a zip archive or a tar archive with the extension Opspack. So this is NT host template Opspack, and now I can import that into other systems. So I can take this download, just an archive, and import it, and it include everything I need as part of my host template for another system. So I can then go import Opspack, browse, I choose NT Opspack there. This will probably say this already exists, what you're doing, but as long as you guys get the idea, you can upload your and import your Opspacks this way. So a nice easy way to send your Opspack between systems. So now I've got a few more changes to make because I've created new service checks, I've created new host templates, and I've created new host attributes. So as it's importing, it's taken everything that was in this host template and automatically added them to Opsview. So let's change my service groups. It's actually even added it to my hashtags as well. So any changes I have in that host template come automatically applied as part of an Opspack. So really useful way of sharing those things between your two systems, if you have them, or indeed archiving them for future use or whatever it is you may need if you have a painstakingly crafted host template and plugins and settings and everything, and you want to take a backup of those. And importing it was just a case of going to host templates and importing an Opspack. And remember, an Opspack is just, like I say, the host template, the plugins, the service checks, and the variables required to get those service checks working. So it's just an easy way of bundling them up. And that is it for this afternoon, everybody. Nice and quick, 20 minutes as promised, and hopefully you've learned a little bit more about what Opsview can and can't monitor out of the box and how you can add new functionality into Opsview and then where you can get them. Helen, do we get any questions in? Or
We have got a couple that have come through to me. So thank you, Neil, for that. First question, someone spotted that the OpenStack Opspack was in beta version.
Yeah.
When will that be available?
I wouldn't like to guarantee it, but just within like 4-6 weeks or so, it's my understanding currently.
Okay. And next question, what's the process for requesting other Opspacks if I can't see the Opspack that I require?
As in a feature request, so there are a few options. There. We can go through PS and we can create you something. You can find third-party created Opspacks or third-party like Nagios plugins on the Nagios Exchange, and we'll create an Opspack that way. It depends on how quickly you need it and what we're trying to monitor. But the first thing you should do is probably contact support, and they'll get you through to the right person here at Opsview. I know professional services have created Opspacks for numerous customers the last year, so your friendly Opsview consultant / trainer will be able to take care of that for you.
Namely you then, Neil.
Yeah, probably one of us, yeah.
Fabulous. Those are all the questions at the moment. If anyone has got a really quick question, please post it in that chat facility before we close today's session. Just as a reminder, please can you post it through the chat facility? We're losing the audio quality when people come off of mute. While that question's coming through, just as a reminder, this session is being recorded. We will share it with all of you after, with those that have a valid business email address under the Opsview subscription. Last chance for questions. Neil, nothing else coming through. Thank you. Thank you again for your time, everybody. And have a good day. Thank you.
Thanks, Helen. Thanks, everyone. Speak to you soon. Oh, the question finally just came through to me is it compatible with 5.2.1? No, a big takeaway here is that all of these new ops packs we are making available for Opsview 6 minimum, and then for the more advanced ones for 6.3 and above, just because of the way we process service check results now and the volume of service check results coming in. So for these more advanced ops packs, you're looking at Opsview 6.3 and above, definitely not 5.2.1. So you're probably going to want to upgrade at some point.
Hey, Neil, thank you for that last minute question squeezed in there. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye.